I'm a little bit confused about how Obama has, it seems like sometimes he's for, sometimes making remarks against certain bills. How does that play in? How does he play in with all this?
Well, I think it's been very difficult for President Obama to be able to make changes in certain respects. He doesn't, seemingly it was thought at one time that he had perhaps the backing for immigration reform. At this point, though, he doesn't have a solid Democratic backing, and he doesn't have the Republicans also enough on board, or hasn't, to be able to get something passed. So I know if they get a bill that's going to bring in both the Democrats and the Republicans, then maybe he'll be able to, with some possible pressure, and I don't know how that works because it didn't work so well with the health care bill, but maybe there will be some way that something can come forward. The one thing I will say is that a lot of the bills that have been proposed are very, very punitive, as well as giving something that's also good. So it's one of those things of people actually recognizing the fact that immigrants give a great deal to our society, and that they aren't sucking off of the public support,
no, they're not.
And that they are paying taxes, and that a lot of these myths that are out there are just that, and they're designed to actually divide people to get the U.S. regular U.S. citizens to actually believe that there's something wrong with immigration when our whole country was founded on that.
Right, right.
We've gotten quite far away from what our founding fathers started out with in this country, and it's very sad that we continue to use people as we did the Chinese,
yes,
as we've done the Philippines, as we've done Mexico, as we've done so many
and
cultures.
It's so easy to look at it in history and go, oh, it was wrong how they treated the Chinese.
Yes.
You know, it's so easy to do that now that we're away from it. And just as we discussed, not only are we not treating the immigrants properly, not only are we making it so that they come over here and work like we need them to and they want to, and perhaps some of them stay, some of them go back home, and if they go back home in better condition than we arrived, I can come up with ideas for this. So can our elected officials. Not only are those things not happening, which causing the trashing of the desert, causing the loss of human lives. Just recently, what did the governor do? Jan Brewer, she is coming up with something about a banning school districts from having ethnic studies. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Well, this was a bill that was actually just signed on the 11th, just 3 days ago, and that particular bill is going to make it impossible, I guess. They'll lose funding, the schools will, if they have some sort of ethnic studies class that in any way causes some resentment of other individuals. It's a very vague kind of a bill. They are not allowing schools to actually, it will gut, I think, the ethnic studies programs. It does allow for certain ethnic studies programs if it has to do with federal law, and that would be anything having to do with Native Americans. But other kinds of ethnic programs would be very much under fire, and possibly some charter schools and any school that's receiving state funding could really be hit hard in terms of having their own ethnic studies. And it's such an affront to and limitation on free speech. Absolutely. In terms of who's going to be deciding what's being said in the classroom.
Right.
And how are they going to enforce such a thing?
It just seems, I can't it seems wrong to me on a gut instinct level. It really does. I'll just have to say it. I don't understand the details yet, but on a gut instinct, I say it seems wrong. And I know that understanding each other is the way to cooperate and to get along and have a better world. So just instinctively, I don't like it. I think it would be hard to convince me that it's a good thing. I doubt I'll come to that conclusion. And you told me earlier that you got your own little protest going on today. Your clothing is colorful as a protest. Isn't that your protest for the day?
Yes, I wore my ethnic outfit, and I think that everybody who has the opportunity to speak out in a situation like this should really take that opportunity. We are given so many choices a day. I've once read about 12,000 choices, and so I know that if we don't use those choices, we're giving up our rights of how we can make change. And each one of us has the responsibility to take it upon ourselves to really live in a way that speaks to what we believe. And if we don't do that, we've given up our roles as individuals and as human beings.
Absolutely. And tell me just what you think about the whole thing about showing your ID card. How does that cause everything to fall apart?
Well, there's a couple of things. There has been proposed a real ID card, and that's a national ID card. And right now, it already has passed Congress, but they haven't been able to find any states that are willing really to enforce and to do this. I think a real ID card is an invasion of privacy. I think anything that would be coded with my fingerprints and I don't know, possibly my DNA, would certainly be unconstitutional and a total invasion of privacy as far as I'm concerned. I totally don't at all support it.
Right. Next thing you know, they're wanting us to be having a chip like inside your skin, you know, inserted like...
Well, I've heard that that's proposed too.
I think it probably, I think they have that one in the hopper somewhere. So I know that we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about, you know, how people can help you out and stuff like that. Sure. So get your pen and pencil ready. We're gonna discuss what you can do to work with and help Salinas out, because she's helping people. She helps people all the time. She's nonprofit, so therefore people that might not be able to afford her services otherwise would be able to afford her, because she's nonprofit and they consider those things that others may not. So let's keep that in mind. She probably needs some help. But that aside, what's really important for me to know about your work as we go out on this segment?
Well, I would say that we take the cases that other attorneys don't take.
Mm-hmm.
People call us when they wouldn't think to call other attorneys.
Right.
The kinds of things that we do are, I guess, not usual, and that we have ways that we can serve people because we're nonprofit. We can serve people who are lower income. I think that we have a very unique kind of service because we try to resolve something from the heart.
Okay.
It's a total different kind of way of looking at conflict. If there's a conflict situation, we will try to find out what is at the heart of the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
We might use forgiveness. We might use
that's so different.
we might use prayer.
Right.
We might use remembering how a person felt about someone in a positive way.
Oh, that's so important.
Before,
oh, yes.
before they actually...
All the time, before they started to break up.
Started
what was
to
that
break
whole
up?
thing that brought them together? I ask people that all the time because they seem to forget that. What was the, you know, how much they're so angry now. And I ask them, well, what was it that originally brought you together? What was it you originally really liked about this person? And that can really turn things around. And it sounds so refreshing because often it's more about, you know, ripping the guts out of that person because your lawyer says you can. And that's really not the way to resolve a conflict. Exactly. It seems like you would want to join and part ways in the best way possible. I applaud you for that one. Let's applaud that one. That is really, really different. Ready, please, because when we come back, we're going to have the contact information for you. But you got to stay. You got to stay with us to find out. So, Rudy, listen to some. Let's give Rudy a round of applause. Have some Rudy. Thank you, Rudy.